Welcome to the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast, your home for all things football at Waldorf University, the best small college football experience in America. Hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson, from the secret bunker beneath Bullsdorf Field.
Welcome to this episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. Well, here we are, Troy, rolling through. We're kind of back. I mean, I took a hiatus. Is that the correct word?
I think
hiatus?
so.
What, like, if we had to define hiatus, does that mean didn't show up for a couple weeks? Is it Greek?
Yeah, let's say it's Greek.
Oh, it's Greek for
Hiatus. Might be Roman. Latin.
maybe Latin for kind of lazy.
I took a little time off.
Oh,
it's like the
Well, I went away-
civilian version of what do they do when they're teachers and they go off and they go on
Oh, yeah.
study for a long time, which is unnecessary.
Sabbatical?
Thank you, a sabbatical. The voice you just
Oh,
heard.
I thought it was a Rummerspringer.
That's the Amish.
Okay. They go kind of crazy.
Hey, I wonder if Riley's Amish. Are you Amish? Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got somebody else that we're going to
We
talk
got
to.
a whole new episode, and we had a brand new coach with Waldorf.
Yeah.
Last week, we took a kind of a left turn and highlighted the new basketball coach for at Waldorf, who's from
Michael.
the Forest City area.
Thompson.
Yeah, from
Michael
Thompson.
Worth from Thompson.
Michael Worth, and he's going to do a great job. And now we've got the final piece of the puzzle.
Dun, dun, dun.
The offensive line coach, Riley. Now it says
Bardes.
yeah. So
It is,
yes, so it is
Yep.
with
He pronounces every letter of that last name.
Bardes.
Every
There's not a letter wasted.
Yeah. So originally, Riley, where did you grow up?
So I'm originally from the Dalles, Oregon. It's a small town, like cherry farming orchard kind of town.
Okay.
The Dalles?
The Dalles, yes.
Isn't that where they have like vampires and werewolves and stuff?
I thought the
I'd be-
Dells
There was like a
where you
whole
go like
movie.
on a duck boat.
Oh, you're talking about the Twilight movie.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was it was filmed in the Columbia Gorge, I think a little bit closer to Hood River, but it wasn't where I'm from.
You're not a...
You know the way
I
he
am familiar
says
with the area that
Okay.
they
the
were.
way you say gorge. It's just like your name. You pronounce every letter.
Every letter.
Every letter in that. I
He
appreciate that.
enunciates
Yeah,
very
that's
well.
good. Yeah,
Very...
really get the feeling for a gorge.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's fantastic.
That's a weird combo.
Whoa.
Gorgeous and wow.
The gorge is gorgeous. It is.
I bet it is.
I bet it
beautiful
is.
sight.
Columbia River Gorge?
Yep.
We don't
Okay.
have a lot of gorges around here.
No, we got some drainage ditches.
Yep.
You seen those?
Better
yet?
watch out
It's the
for
same
them.
thing. It's
If you're
fun. It's still-
recruiting,
It's still gorgeous.
go through Thor, Iowa. You better watch out on the east side of the road because there's a big old gorge. No, it's just a drainage ditch.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, welcome,
Well,
Riley.
thank you. I appreciate it.
So have you heard about the podcast? Did they say, hey, your day's coming?
Yep, I was told probably either day one or day two
Oh.
of being on staff. Like, hey, this was already mentioned. Just kind of want to give you the heads up on it, and so I've gotten a couple of the coaches on staff to be able to kind of talk me through a couple things and just be like, hey, this
I
is
wonder
how
how
it's
those
probably going to
come.
go.
Like who specifically? That
I don't know if I want to release.
Oh,
names.
let's see. Well, we've talked to them all.
Well, I've got Brummer on. He's on notice.
Oh, is that right?
Lost my screwdriver.
Oh, really?
Lost my.
Why did
screwdriver.
he need a screwdriver?
Well, I don't know, but I had one, and somebody used it. Now I've been
Mhm.
giving him a bad time. He didn't lose it. Somebody did though.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's the D-line coach there.
yeah, know those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
me and him butting heads
Other
every day.
side of
you
the
know?
ball.
You know, that's kind of the goal of it, and started in the trenches.
So you don't want to give up who was kind of coaching you a little bit, coaching you a
Yeah.
little bit. Like, hey, this is what happens on the podcast.
It's in their nature. You know, you just got to be coaching.
Well,
Okay.
I think, Andy, though, that's good news for us because if you when we started this a few years ago,
It was bad.
nobody was saying, hey, you got to make sure you get on the podcast. Now it's like players are asking us, when are we going to be on? And we got coaches that are prepping other coaches
Yeah.
saying, listen, this is going to happen. And I think after our conversation last week, that seems like this summer we're going to probably
summer series.
Take a summer series and get the other coaches for the other programs.
Everything.
Sweet.
Why not?
Yeah, we can get our shooting sports. We can get our
Forgot we had that.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, boy, that covers the whole summer.
Yeah.
Got a lot of programs at Waldorf.
Dean Mueller's the shooting sports coach there. He's a retired gentleman. He's good stuff.
Hope he brings some shotguns.
Oh, we could do that live
could.
outside.
A little outdoor episode.
We could have a little episode where we do what we do on Thanksgiving, where we shoot in our family, we shoot the turkey after we eat it. So we just take the carcass, put it on a peg, and blast away at it.
Kill it again.
Some people use the wishbone, but that's different. I like
We don't mess around. We blow that thing right off that pike. You bet.
That's very good.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, tell us a little bit about where you come from. We figured out that you're not a vampire or werewolf, but you're close. And so
How did you even know that was?
you did not read those books?
No, I did. Did you?
Okay.
Are you a tweener?
No, hold on. Hold on. Let me just explain this real quick. Yes,
yeah,
I read
yeah.
the books.
Okay.
Because my oldest daughter was like a preteen, early teens.
Sure.
And she and her mother were going to read the books together.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I got Dad, are you going to read the books with us?
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, my baby girl's asking me
Yeah.
to read. Well, and I like to read. So
Yeah.
I read all 4 of them.
Reading's good.
And I realized that if you are a 13-year-old girl, greatest books ever.
Yeah.
If you're like a 40-something dude,
Yeah.
not great.
Not great.
No.
This guy's a vampire. That guy's a werewolf. Stay away from both of them.
Oh, I just love them so much.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to you, Coach. You grew up in Oregon.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and some people call it Oregon.
Some people do.
And they're wrong.
And that's
They are
incorrect.
wrong. That is
Yeah.
incorrect.
Yeah, it's never been the Oregon Trail.
Never.
No, it didn't go anywhere.
No.
When I was at Waldorf a million years ago,
Back to Coach, and here we are.
we had a guy named Eric Olson who did not participate in sports, but he should have. He was probably 6'7", and just a bald dude from Portland, Oregon, and he was in my German class, and we became friends. And he was very much a guy who was. It's Oregon. It's not Oregon. Didn't go anywhere. That's what he always said.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a college when I went to Northwest. I had a gentleman from Oregon, and he admonished us about the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
So I think we got it between the two of us.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are well versed.
All right. So you grew up in the
Dells?
The Dalles.
the Dalles.
Dalles, yeah.
How do you spell that?
It's the and then DAL.
Oh, it is the Dalles. Again, pronouncing all the
Dalles.
letters appropriately.
The
Yep.
Dalles.
Yeah.
I love this. All right.
Don't even
So-
know what is that. What is the Dalles?
I don't know where the name originates from.
I got a computer right here. in my
Yeah,
fingertips.
it was kind of it was old, like native kind of fishing ground.
Okay.
I can't remember what the there used to be like a big old, before they put the Dalles Dam in and a couple other dams around the area. There was a gosh, I can't think of the word, but big old fishing spot.
Okay.
So it was like a communal ground basically for fishing back in the day.
Oh, all right.
It's an inland port. It's the largest city in Wasco County.
Okay.
Or is it Wasco?
Wasco.
Wasco. Wasco Pico train.
16,000 people along the Columbia River Gorge. All right, so tell us more about
Nice.
your upbringing.
Yeah. So my whole family is from the Dalles. Grew up with all of them, and that's all.
I'm sorry.
I know
there
that's
is going to be a percentage of our listeners who still, even after all of this explanation, are still thinking you are from the Wisconsin Dells.
yep,
Yeah. Okay.
yep.
Oh,
But you're not.
I'm not. No, from the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So grew up there. Played football there, and graduated from the Dalles High School. Ended up going to Western Oregon University.
okay, back up.
What was
The Dalles mascot.
mascot? That's exactly where I was going.
Yep. So there was.
Tell me it's the Cowboys.
It's not.
Yeah, well, come on.
The Dalles Cowboys.
So it started out, there used to be 2 high schools.
Okay.
There was the Eagles, and then there was the Indians. And then roughly 2010, to maybe a little bit before that, they ended up merging the two high schools together, and they just ended up merging the names. So
Now it's the Indians.
it was the Dalles Eagle Indians.
Oh.
Yep.
They hyphenated.
Yeah.
It's like one of
And
those
then
marriages.
My last year, they had decided to do a rebrand, and so I graduated as the first class of the Riverhawks.
I like that.
The Riverhawks, that's what Mason City is.
They are.
What is
And Forest
the
City is the
Riverhawks?
Indians. Britt is the Eagles. And now Mason City used to be
Garner
the
is the
Mohawks.
Cardinals, and Mason City was the Mohawks.
Now
for
they're
some
the
reason.
Riverhawks.
Alliteration for Mason City. Now it's the Riverhawks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
All right.
exactly know what a Riverhawk is, but I also don't know what an Eagle Indian is. So
Oh,
That's a good point. Wow. That's a good point. But we found that in Iowa, if you just put the word hawk behind anything, it's okay.
yeah,
We could we could be the Indian Hawks
there you
kind
go.
of cool.
in the future.
That'd be kind of cool. The Lumberhawks.
The Lumberhawks. We've never had a I don't know, maybe Riley Lewis could tell me otherwise, but I don't think
There's another Riley just down the road.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
Great dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind
It's
of
a
like
great
the
name.
local historian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time. All right, so the Dalles Riverhawks, and then you went to
Western
Washington-
Oregon.
Western Oregon.
Yeah, so went to college at Western Oregon University. Kind of decided to branch out and do something else. So I ended up playing rugby at Western Oregon University.
Okay.
You were a standout. I did see that.
Yeah.
Standout.
I don't know about that. I thought I played pretty well and contributed to
humble.
the team, but there were a lot of guys that did a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah, I saw he was an all-conference eye gouger.
Scrum Master.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that actually is, but you got to wear cool jerseys there.
Yeah.
They still wear like the collared, the old fashioned rugby.
Kind of,
Remember
not
when-
like not
no?
like a traditional polo. Like we didn't have those. There were some teams that wore like the polo collar.
And they had rubber buttons. Remember that? In the 90s, early
Yes,
90s?
and the rugby shirts,
Everybody
the
was
rubber
wearing-
buttons. Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do that as much. We got some really cool. There were some really cool people there that really supported the program, and so they ended up actually getting us. I think we had 3 sets of jerseys, and so we had a red, we had a gray, and we had a black, and they were all pretty slick.
You get your recruiting done. There might be some. There is a North Iowa Rugby Club.
I don't know if the body can take it anymore.
Well,
I've since retired.
Have you
from
tried?
that.
Yeah.
I have tried.
you did retire officially. There was a press conference and everything.
No, it didn't make it an official statement or anything like that.
Riley Barnes retires.
But we'll go, like, we'll have an alumni game, which is pretty fun. We'll get the current team against each other, or you're playing against the old kind of guys,
Yeah.
and just kind
I
of
think that's who it is.
have a
You
good
might
time.
have a star chance over there.
Yeah, there's some good rugby songs
Yeah.
out there.
All right.
Yeah. So I did that, and that was really cool. We ended up being a really good team in 2019, and we were like ranked 5th nationally. And
Whoa.
we ended up going to maybe it was like the regional tournament is what we called it. We ended up playing in the first round of that tournament. We ended up playing the eventual national champions, and again, not to toot our own horn, because they kind of
Toot.
beat everybody really, really badly. They were a great team. It was Azusa Pacific down in California. They didn't have a football
Heard of it.
team, and now they're bringing it back, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So they had just gotten rid of their football team. All their football players, I would assume, went and joined their rugby team.
Yeah.
And so we ended up losing to them, but we did give them the best game that they had played the
Yes.
entire way to the national championship. So
You want to be the best, you got to beat
A
them.
lot of similarities between the game of rugby and American football.
Yeah,
So
it helped out. It helped
yeah.
out playing football my whole life before.
Yeah.
that.
How can you go through some of those for our listening audience? We don't really play rugby around. Well, North Iowa Rugby does, but I mean, I couldn't tell you. I know it's a scrum.
Yep. You do have a scrum. You have a scrum down sometimes.
Okay.
Scrum down is like after a penalty. And basically you just make the scrum, and then, the team that didn't get the penalty is the ability, the better advantage to get the ball out of the scrum.
What's happening in that scrum? I mean, how many guys? First of all, is it 11 on 11?
It's so there's two different seasons of rugby.
Oh,
The one that most people are probably the most familiar with is 15 on 15.
that's a lot.
Yeah, and so that's generally in the wintry to springish time.
Okay.
and then you get into summers, and that's 7-on-7.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. And then in that scrum, that's kind of the business, isn't it? That's where you're at. The O-line coach. I mean, that's
A little
there's
bit.
a little business.
It's a little
there.
different, but yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening in that inside of there.
There definitely is.
You guys trading recipes and stuff?
No, generally just really trying to push each other over.
Okay.
Just trying to push against each other and see who can move the pile just a little bit more.
And so is the ball in the middle of the scrum, and you're just trying to work an advantage to kick it out?
So how it works is your scrum half, who is generally the guy that wants to be able to get to the ball and pass it out.
Yeah.
Kind of your most elite passer on the team. Places the ball. You set the scrum, and then once he places it, the sir. So it's not a ref. So you have a sir on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You have one and maybe some side judges or something like that.
Like
the sir is-
SIR?
Yep.
Okay.
I think. I don't actually know that, but I would
Okay,
assume.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
So the sir gives him certain commands, and then once the commands are in, okay, now it's time to lock up and then start pushing, and then the scrum half places the ball into the scrum, and it's called a hooker.
Nice.
That is a position on the field.
Totally changes our tailgating.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
So that's generally your number 2. So in rugby, you see people wearing certain numbers. You don't get to choose those numbers like football.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. So your position is assigned by your number.
Andy would argue you don't get to choose those numbers anyway.
Sometimes you
should
don't.
not get, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be happy you got one.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You get this.
And so place the ball into the scrum. The hooker is then to hook the ball. That's why
Yeah.
it's called a hooker.
Okay.
So with his generally to the side of the scrum, generally on the right, he hooks the ball with his right foot, trying to get it to the back of the scrum so the scrum half can go get it from the.
So you're kicking the ball you're kicking it around.
Yep.
You can pick it up though. Only one person can pick it up.
So I believe, and I can't be quoted on this specific rule. The scrum half for sure,
Yeah.
and then you have the 8-man who is in the very back of the scrum.
I feel like
Can
you should
also
be able
pick it
to
up.
be quoted though. I mean, on a lot of this because we're
You'd think.
Yeah.
I just played. I didn't ref it.
move
though.
people around.
I just was out
My
there.
brain hurts.
I love it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And
Much
there's
like
no forward
soccer.
passes, right?
No forward passes.
And but you can laterally.
Yep. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
kick it. You can laterally pass it.
Interesting.
Generally, the pass is behind. You can do whatever you want in that situation. So if I'm running down the field and I want to kick the ball, I can kick the ball and go get it.
You've had to have seen some really cool injuries.
I don't know if I have.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I've known people to completely shatter the orbit around their eye.
Yeah, there's that. And then if you just remove your headphones a second here, do you have like some kind of ear damage like a wrestler? No,
I do
you
not.
don't.
No.
No
That
cauliflower.
looked totally
you
normal.
could feel it though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You can after games you can really feel it.
There is headgear now for some rugby. Is that
There
correct?
is.
Nobody wears
No.
that.
Some people do.
No.
Some people say that if we
Yep.
took all of the safety gear off of football, that it would be safer.
That's kind of the idea behind rugby.
Yeah.
Right. The rugby tackle and the physical like football tackle, they're vastly different.
Oh, it's just all about speed and power and
Yep.
just, I mean, yeah. And when the more safety equipment that you add on,
You gotta
the
think a
faster
little
you
bit
go.
more.
And yeah.
You got to think about your own body a little bit more.
So how do you get guys that, I mean, so your experience, how does that translate into the O-line?
Excuse me. That's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I wrote it down.
You got all choked up.
Yeah.
I guess if you're trying to talk rugby to O-line, it's really about power. That's what you're trying to translate into. And so like for us on the offensive line, we have to be able to find a way to get power. And where we get power is from our leverage, and really we get power from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we need all of our cleats in the ground. We need to be able to use a push-off point. We need to be able to generate that power from something. And for us, it's the ground. We're going to use the ground to our advantage.
All right.
So a very similar thing in rugby. You're pushing off the ground. You gotta know how your body works a little bit.
Now
Excellent.
the previous O-line coach was quite tall, and how tall are you?
I'm about 5'9" on a good day.
Yeah. So now when you're talking about GPAC football,
Yeah.
with a few exceptions. You can figure this out, but like this, I mean, our O-line are not necessarily all towering guys that are 6'7".
No.
I mean, so that power point and that leverage and using the ground, that's technique is critical.
Yeah.
And that's across the board. I mean, most of the, I would say all of the programs in the GPAC are recruiting guys that are in your range to higher, and obviously they want to put weight and strength on their guys. So where are we with our line?
In the recruiting area, in the current area?
I'll take both.
All right. So in the current area, we've got 10 guys in the room. 3 of them right now are dealing with some injuries, so they're sitting spring ball, getting them ready to go for fall. That's the time that we really need them. We've got about 7 guys active in spring ball, going through contact and all that stuff. And to be completely honest with you, I've been super impressed with them so far.
Okay.
They are, they're not the biggest and strongest guys, and they know that, and I know that, and we need to be able to do things that help them out in that way. Offensive line is played on angles. You break it down to a simple geometry, it's going to help you out a whole lot.
I mean, when you say it like that,
all math
sounds really.
It sounds complicated.
Sounds really smart.
But once you get out there, you're just looking at angles.
Yeah.
What's the best angle that I can take, in a combo block to be able to move a guy and then be able to get off and get to the linebacker. To keep it as simple as that. And in the recruiting world, we've got 4 currently committed, 3 2025s right now that we feel really, really solid about. Some guys that I think will be able to come in and really help out. And we've got 1 transfer he's a big old boy, and he's going to do really good things. He's coming from a JUCO in California, and so we're still looking to get some more guys on.
Okay.
I'd love, in the perfect world, we've got 10 right now. With the 4 that are committed, we've got 14. I'd love to be up to 20.
Okay.
If we have 20 offensive linemen, I feel really good.
That'd be great.
And, that's sometimes, just stacking years, being able to kind of take care of the position.
Stacking years,
and be able to, take care of the guys that we have and be able to continue to add guys into it.
Well, we found out last year as we entered the GPAC that, and this is the same year after year, the O-line, they take a beating, 100%. And so having the ability to confidently rotate out is something that, I'm going to announce the starters, but, having the ability to rotate out the 2 deep and the 3 deep, that's critical because giving those guys a rest, keeping them healthy, fighting that battle, it all does take place on the trenches, and we got to move people for sure. In this conference, did you take a look at coming? Listen, did you look at what you were getting into?
I know what I was getting into.
Okay,
good.
All right.
Yep. I knew what I was getting into, and I get that question every now and then. Steve.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the deciding factor there? What was your what was thought process behind that? One for me personally, being a QC and an analyst and an assistant offensive line coach at Eastern Washington, you want to be able to run your own room. So that was a big goal of mine personally.
Okay.
I wanted to be the guy that was able to do it. I wanted to be able the guy that it's my room and we're able to go the direction that I want to go. And then 2, just from a Waldorf specifically kind of thought process, being able to get on the phone with Coach Chapa was huge. Being able to get on the phone with Coach Don was huge.
Yeah.
Just like I could feel the vision. I could feel where they wanted things to go and the direction they were taking things. And it was a real believable thing for me to even just over the phone be able to talk to them, be able to see it and feel it. And they're great guys. We got great guys on staff as a whole. Those are the 2 guys that I talked to in the interview process. But it really was oh wow, like the previous season and everything like that. We're changing things up, and I can see it and I can feel it, and just being able to hear them talk about it was a real believable thing for me.
Does the team, you've just been here for a little over a month now.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that? So the team learned a lot too. It wasn't just the coaches. The team, obviously that, they got 90 guys, I think 80 of them, I think 10 of them were
transferred in at the semester, something like that. So you're right around that 90 mark. And so it's like here for spring ball, those 80 guys that were here for the last season, minus the seniors, you notice that they feel it too. Like they like, listen, we need to, you can see that
there is and you can see it, when maybe someone messes up on the field or does something wrong, that the coaches don't always have to be the first guy to say it. You know, there's accountability, there's believability, and there's a sense of ownership over it too from the guys. So it's really cool to see, and we're still in the process of it 100%. Building the culture is a forever goal. It's never a, okay, great, we made it. That's kind of when things might go bad.
For sure.
But being able to see that from the guys too has been really, really rewarding.
So the you mentioned who you talked to on the interview process, and of course now we do also have a new offensive coordinator, and talk about that a little bit because you're coming in, and so the offensive side of the ball is brand new. So maybe based on what you've seen, some film from last year or whatever you saw, and then where we're at now, what are we looking forward to?
I won't give any schematic things that we're doing right now. Good.
We need every angle.
Yes. I won't give any of that away, but we are doing things different. We're doing things right. That's something for me. They're different to me as well. I've got my own background and my own stuff, and being able to sit down and coach Don's office and kind of being able to feed off of each other a little bit, it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that he brings up and I'm like, oh, that's different. That's cool though. And then there's some things that I bring up and he's like, oh, that's different. Nice. That's cool. And so it's kind of we're trying to do it all.
We brought up with Coach Chapa, now with Danny Donadio as the OC. He's from California.
West Coast offense.
That's exactly right. So like, is it more West Coast? Chapa was
whatever
like,
that means.
We still gotta. He's like, listen, we still gotta run the ball.
We are. We're going to be a run the ball operation for sure. Be able to rely on our run game and in different ways and different schemes and stuff like that. We'll be able to dress it up at times. But really, we're foundationally going to be a pretty run the ball first.
Okay.
Be able to build off of that in the pass game, and set us up in a good situation to where it's all right. It's 1st and 10. All right, it's 2nd and 4 now, and we got a ton of options.
Yeah.
It's
the 3rd and 17 that we run into occasionally in the GPAC, and obviously we have to prepare for that too. Yeah. For sure.
They happen.
And so discipline on the line is critical because, there were some games last year where we led in penalties, but a lot of the games we didn't, have that problem, particularly I'd say the last 2/3 of the season. We the discipline tightened up pretty good. But anything, boy, you guys had the advantage of knowing the count and anything, any offsides, anything like that, that's too much, So how do the guys feel about that, and what do you do to prevent, issues on the discipline part?
We're a pretty zero tolerance thing on a lot of the fronts. If we have an issue, we're going to squash it. And I feel incredibly blessed from the offensive line that I've kind of inherited. They've been super bought into, like, this is all new to them. I've got different things that I say that they're used to. I've got different ways of talking about stuff, but they're all super receptive. And, once you say it 3-4 times, they're pretty keened into what it means. So we can talk about certain, sets, and we can talk about certain hand placements, and they know what I mean now. So it's just kind of going through that process a little bit of, hey, this is what we're doing. You got to iron out some wrinkles and stuff like that all the time. But from the offensive line perspective, they've been great.
We've had scramblers in the quarterback spot last season,
whether they wanted to or
whether
not.
They
sometimes
wanted to. Lou and Chris, they had to move, and some of that is just the reality of who you're up against, and there are some great D lines out there in the GPAC. So keeping our quarterbacks safe and able to maneuver. I know we've got some, I don't say, we got some great prospects on the running side of the game, and that aren't new to the program. So we're looking forward to that without giving too much information, although it'll be pretty obvious once the roster's presented. Yeah. But so all of those things, where are the guys? I mean, how do they, that's their job.
Yeah. So going back, and I've watched film from last year, not every single game or anything like that. I saw the issues. Mm-hmm. I could see them. And so even going through even yesterday's practice, being in pads and being able to go in like a live drive situation against the defense, we've been able to set a pretty good pocket so far.
Good.
So that's been really cool to see, and just we've got quarterback movement. They're not having to do the scramble that you're talking about. We had a quarterback. I don't want to get the names or anything like that, but be able to step all the way through the pocket the other day.
Nice.
Nice and easy, no panic. And not saying that we're 100% right all the time or anything like that. We still got stuff to fix ourselves, but we're on a pretty good path in that direction right now.
Good.
That's very good.
Yeah.
So now you went Western Oregon, and then you actually came from Eastern Washington.
Yes.
Is it Washington or Washington?
No, it's definitely
Washington.
You know that.
All right. I didn't know if we worked the close or
Wordplay, yeah.
Okay.
So I ended up graduating from Western Oregon with an exercise science degree. Kind of thought I was going to get into teaching and coaching kind of at the high school level. When I graduated, it was 2020 and going through COVID, and I was like, wow, I don't think getting into teaching right now is a very good idea. So I ended up still staying in the coaching world and being able to get in a high school up in South Salem, Oregon, with a really great coach up there, really good head coach that's been there for a while. He's since retired, but he kind of got me on the path of thinking about college football. And thinking about that path for me. He's got some buddies that are really high up in college football.
Okay.
Just say some of the top teams in the FBS. So kind of gave me his story of how he went a different direction. He went into the high school side of coaching, and they went into the college side of coaching.
Right.
And they tried to bring him along one time, and he was like, I've been high school coaching for 4 years or something like that, and he told me to just go after it. So it was really good advice, and there was more to it than just that, but it was kind of my cement of okay, I want to do this. So getting up to Eastern Washington was a fun thing to do. Ended up reaching out to every school, college in the Pacific Northwest, basically between Oregon and Washington, and maybe Idaho. And Eastern Washington was one of them that got back to me. I think actually probably the only one that got back to me.
All right.
I don't think I heard from anyone else. At first it was a defensive analyst position, talking to their defensive coordinator. And then they ended up hiring somebody else for it. They hired a linebackers coach up there. He brought somebody with him. And then it was a couple of months after that, heard back from him. Hey, we might have something on the offensive line. Would you want me to share your contact information with our offensive coordinator? I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Please. And so his name is Coach Chapin, the former offensive coordinator at Eastern Washington. Stellar guy. The best kind of people you can be around. And that's really what being at Eastern Washington was really being around the best kind of people.
Yeah.
So got on the phone with him, ended up getting on the phone with the former offensive line coach, Hayden Mace. They're both at Central Michigan now. Stellar dudes again.
Yeah.
Just great people. The Chippewas. Yep. And so ended up going up there in the summer of 2023.
I'll take
I want to say I got there
sure.
maybe a month before we got into fall camp.
Make it up. We'll start talking about fish, and I'll start lying.
Nice.
So yeah, ended up getting up there as the offensive analyst and assistant offensive line coach, and then right after the season, I was able to get a promotion up to the senior analyst and still working with the offensive line. And then now here I am.
So let's talk about that a little bit. For two things. One, your conversation about the advice that you received getting into coaching and choosing the college route. And that just makes me think of the defensive coordinator for Waldorf, Tom Clary. He was almost the opposite. Got into high school, did his thing for several years. The head coach at Forest City, left after a year because he knew that he wanted to get into college ball.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the opposite of what the other guy told you. It's like, well, not the opposite, but Clary did that. He took the jump, and I think that's been a good thing based on what I've seen, particularly in the secondary. But then you spent a lot of time. So first of all, have you talked to Clary about that?
I knew that.
Yeah.
The ins and outs, I don't know, but we've talked about it.
Okay. And then a lot of your experience is in analysis. And so how does that play into your role here, in addition to what you do, obviously, as the O-line coach? Tell us about the analysis part. That's a lot of experience and very valuable. And let's dig into that a little.
Yeah, it's a lot of time with film. It's a lot of time breaking down film, being able to look at your own film and being able to look at opponent's film and making sure kind of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and stuff like that. I think the most valuable thing that I got out of it was the realization of how much work it really is.
Yep.
GAs, QCs, anything like that. Like it's a tough job. It's 6 a.m., 7 a.m. to midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then doing it again the next day. And that's just that's the expectation. It's not very thankful. Like I said, the guys at Eastern Washington, awesome, salt of the earth people would always go above and beyond, and that's the expectation. So kind of, when we're hanging out in the office late at night, it's like here, it's okay. That's normal.
Yeah.
So it's some of that, being able to look at a defense and kind of being able to break it down a little bit and being able to know kind of, all right, this is what they're doing in 2nd and 10. This is kind of their tendencies in this situation. These are the blitzes they like. These are the stunts they like, and kind of being able to put that into verbiage is definitely super helpful for me, and being able to hopefully break it down for the players as well.
When you watch that much film, I mean, do you develop an eye for what is useful to present to the players? At the end of the day, the reason that you watch all that film, obviously, is you have to come up with a game plan, but you also have to be able to present to the players both what the opponent that you're going to face is going to do, what we can expect, what we're looking for, and then also what we're doing wrong. So do you develop an eye, basically an editing eye, to say, okay, well, there's tons of hours of film here, but I need to show this in a 1 hour meeting and have discussion.
Yeah, definitely. The philosophy of going through every single practice rep and showing them every single thing. I don't believe in that. I believe in, I think it was a Chip Kelly clinic that he put on one time. The way the world kind of works right now with young people is, you have a certain amount of time that you have them, and then, they kind of trail off.
Yeah.
So your practice needs to be, your film breakdown needs to be very oriented like practice. We're not doing the same thing in practice in every single drill or every single period or anything like that. I need to be able to hit the key points, and, if something's great, let's watch it. It's great. All right, let's go to the next one, and now we got something to fix. We don't have to, I don't need to show them, when we're naked booting or something like that. And
do you have is it 3, 2, 4, 6 particular things that you can say, well, today, we're going to cover, this is our primary focus, and it's this one thing, and then maybe there's 2, 3, 4, possibly 6 things, I suppose, in a week, as you continue to get better and better and better.
Yeah. The way that we organize our individual periods is, what are we doing in that day? What are the plays we're planning on calling so we can feel confident when the defense does this thing or they do this thing? We need to be able to go through that in individual period. There's not really a sense of doing something that you're not doing that day, to be able to stack those days and feel good about each thing that you're really doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we organize our individual periods and kind of how we organize practice a little bit. And that's kind of how we organize our film watch, our meetings in the mornings.
Sure.
Well, what do you think about the culture at Waldorf? You mentioned the culture at Western Oregon and Eastern Washington and all these other places. And so, like, talk about the culture here that you've discovered so far in the last month or so with Waldorf.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been great to see. Like, it's a buy-in, and we're still building it, right? Mm-hmm. We're still, going through the expectations and still, having to kind of not rethink, but I don't know. I'm
reimagine.
But really, like, gosh darn it, I keep saying but being able to put those in the process.
Yeah.
So we're definitely still doing that. That's a day by day
reinforce.
Reinforce.
Yeah. There it is.
There's your
saying. There it is.
Mm-hmm. So we're still doing that. And that's like I said, that's an ever growing process. That's an infinite process to have a good, strong culture. And we've got our own culture on the offensive line, the way that we do things that stems to the offense. We have an umbrella of things that we do. As a team, we do things this way. As the offense, we do things this way. As the offensive line, we do things this way. Mm-hmm. So that's it's super cool to see those guys being able to, one, hold themselves accountable and then hold each other accountable. Like, that is a huge thing in just wanting to be a good football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of players that are on the O-line on this program,
of course,
and they definitely have their own culture.
Yeah. It's a little different up front.
Yeah,
and there's certain ways that we do things for us from my perspective, and there's definitely certain ways that they do things from their perspective. Mm-hmm. But it's being the toughest guys out on the field for us.
Well, all business. That's one of the things that I've always noticed in the locker room is, our O-line dudes, whether it's halftime or before a game, everybody's just sitting at their locker waiting to see what's next.
Yeah.
And it's all business. And then, of course, you hear hooting and hollering, and then you look at some of your O-line leaders and like, what's going on over there? Skill guys.
Well, that's the thing, the O-line, they get... boy, there's just not a lot of stats that they get recorded.
But it's a thankless job.
Yeah.
It's a thankless job done in the shadows, but you should take pride in that.
Absolutely.
Every touchdown is kind of your touchdown, too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not
going to happen without you.
Yeah.
So it's something that we take some pride in. And we got to work on, there was a play the other day that we scored on, and we got to work on the celebrations a little bit. Just getting happy and feeling it, feeling the, oh, hey, yeah.
Yeah.
We did it. So,
yeah.
Getting those guys a little juiced up about that, I think will be good. And
there isn't a lot of motion, with the O-line guys that I know.
Yeah.
They're not like, well, no, because like even you get somebody like Jacoby Mays.
Yeah.
And Jacoby is a clown in the locker room. Mm-hmm. And a lot of places.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Not just the locker room.
I love Jacoby to death.
Before the game. Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes you get him on the football field during a game and it's just like, hey, bud, how you doing? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just locked in.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
He's a great kid in particular. He really is.
Yeah.
He is.
He's a stellar offensive lineman for us right now.
Yep.
So he's doing really good things.
And if there's ever shenanigans afoot, you can guarantee the Mays brothers are right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Which I love about them.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah, they're always right.
Well, they got a great sense of humor. So
they do.
They do.
Yeah, for sure. So, Coach, you've been in town a month. Obviously, it's been drinking from the fire hose as far as learning our program, our culture, and stuff like that. But have you had any opportunity to kind of look around your new little home and explore Forest City?
Yeah. Over spring break, I was able to, kind of be around town. We've been able to get together as coaches and kind of go around, and that's been super cool to be able to have, our own little culture and our own little, things that we do just, outside of football. That's been awesome for me. Feeling very welcomed from the staff just in general.
Good.
Been able to go out and, see what Forest City has to offer over spring break. Like I said, went out to Mason City and kind of just drove around, explored, stopped at a couple different restaurants, and just kind of had, whatever was around.
Yeah.
I think the following day ended up going out to Clear Lake and Clear Lake's beautiful.
Yeah, sure
It
is.
is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I was on the lake last night.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Fishing. You don't even want to know how many walleyes I caught.
I don't want to know.
It was,
Is it open water now?
yeah, water's open. There's no docks out, but you got to get a little creative to get your boat out there.
Yeah.
But the walleyes is biting.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. I ended up just sitting at a bench for like 45 minutes, just really enjoying the scenery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I mean, considering
for
there's no
you.
mountains or gorges or anything like that. Yeah, that's a good spot. I really do like Clear Lake.
It was super
Yeah.
nice. It was
Do you
super
like to
nice.
golf? Because the chapel likes to golf.
Yeah, I'll say
Coach Don.
I like to golf. I won't say I'm a very good golfer though.
There you go. That's
I've got
where
a
I'm
bit of
at.
a slice on my drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just buy new clubs. That's all it takes.
It is. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Can't be the guy holding the club. It's got to be the material.
Yeah,
Sure.
darn. Yeah.
Yeah.
The balls. There's something wrong with these balls.
That's right. Now, we
They're all
did
weighted
notice
to the right all the time.
Yeah, I hate it.
when you pulled up tonight, we noticed that you have completely emigrated to Iowa. You've got
Yeah.
your Winnebago County plates on your vehicle there, and it's a funny story how that occurred. You want to share that with everybody?
Funny. Sure. So ended up getting in town. It was a Friday.
Long drive.
Very long drive, about a 25-hour in total drive. Broke it over about 2.25 a day or something like that. So ended up getting into town, stopped in the offices, kind of saw everything. And then we had a couple of recruits on campus. So ended up hanging out with them for the day. And then myself and Coach Don sat down. We're kind of just, breaking it down a little bit more. And it's probably, 10 o'clock at night. I was pretty gassed after, the very long drive coming in. Ended up leaving the D-Jack and might have missed a stop sign.
Yeah.
Right there by the swimming pool.
After that.
Okay.
After that. So going like past the field house.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like that.
it happens.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Or maybe I just didn't stop. I really do not know.
Yeah.
But just happened to have a
Way
police
too tired.
officer driving right by me.
Mm-hmm.
And he flipped around and he pulled me over and
Welcome to Forest City.
Yeah.
yeah. And so the story on my Jeep, I had a 2021 Tacoma before coming out here.
Yeah.
It's expensive. You don't really know as a young coach really what you're getting into. You don't know where you're going or how much you might get paid or how much you might not get paid. So I ended up deciding to sell it. And so I've had my Jeep since I was 16. It was my grandpa's Jeep before that. So I ended up just inherited from him. The reason I got my truck was 4 years prior, the Jeep kind of took a kaput. We thought something major happened with it. It was just the
Flux capacitor.
No, it was the
no?
the temperature gauge.
Thermostat.
Thermostat, yes.
Yep.
$10 part.
Words.
The Jeeps do that.
They do that.
They do.
This
I had
one in
one.
particular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one in
My
particular.
wife drives a Jeep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's was
Was it like
reliable for
a
breaking down.
96?
It's a 93.
I mean, that's
better yet.
the era right there. I had a Comanche, and it was the same thing, and it was like, that's right, $10,
Hey,
Yep.
and it was
Troy.
fixed.
Troy.
Yeah.
It was a Comanche. Comanche is the town in Iowa. Comanche is the
Yeah, whatever. I only had it for a few years.
wordsmith.
And then I sold it, and I wisely got a neon.
There you go. There you go.
Wow, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a
It was
good
either that or Illumina.
Oh my goodness! Good, gone with the
gracious.
Lumina. Yeah.
yeah, so ended up selling the truck, getting back in the Jeep, fixing it up.
Yeah.
I was driving it for maybe a week before ended up getting down here. So it had been sitting for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have had some expired tags on it.
There you go.
It did.
There's a chance.
Yeah. Now there's a 100% chance on that one.
All right.
So ended up getting pulled over for the stop sign. The police officer, great guy, was super cool. I can't remember his name.
It's all right.
They're all great guys.
Yeah. Ended up chit-chatting, ended up, taking my license and coming back to the car and looking at the license plate a little bit more and had some expired tags on it. So had to get my registration updated in Iowa.
And
There you
you're
go.
fully done. Basically, you're driving a country song across the country. You got your grandpa's Jeep and expired tags, and nobody stops you until you get into the great RV capital of America. That's what happens.
It was a hoot, kind of having everything packed up. I think so. I had listened to Coach Choppa's episode before coming on.
Okay.
And that was around the time that I was on my way down.
Mm-hmm.
And he had mentioned having my bed strapped to the top of the Jeep. And that is a true story.
That's right.
I
we
had
thought you
just the front
Seinfeld
kinda-
Superman that. Yeah.
Slowing you down,
Yeah.
it's killing your gas mileage.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get very well in a 93 Jeep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
maybe
yeah.
about 15 on the highway.
Right.
I had to stop about every couple of hours.
That's all right.
So
Nice.
it's a memory foam. I had it folded over like a
Yeah.
like a hamburger style. Ended up wrapping it up in a tarp and just strapping it down to the roof, and
Yeah.
we drove 25 hours like that. So
That's nice.
What a great country we live in where you can drive that situation across the country.
And how many
State to
guys-
state to state. Yeah.
How many guys in that 25 hours saw you go in the other direction and go, oof, I remember those days.
Yep.
I think some people were behind me were a little more worried.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. Marge, get in the other lane.
He's holding
Other
on
lane.
with twine. It's twine. Yeah.
Yeah, those things happen. Coach.
Yeah, but it was a good drive. It was great. Montana's beautiful. I've been to Montana, never driven through it though.
Yep.
It was great.
Come in through North Dakota?
So no, ended up driving through Montana. I can't even orient my states. But Montana, Wyoming,
Yep.
South
drop down,
Dakota.
yeah.
I know you got there.
And then drove across a little bit of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then coming down.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't go through Dickinson. Yeah, that's good.
I don't
Yeah.
believe so.
No, maybe.
If you went through North Dakota, you'd have to.
Yeah.
I think so. But it's good that you didn't.
That's right.
That's I-94.
You have to stop and ask directions.
Ah.
Hey, you guys know where Waldorf University is? They're like, we know where it is.
He's like, if you talk to those guys on that podcast, I want you to tell them a little something.
And then as you pull away, holding your mattress on with one arm, you just be like, see you later, Dick and son. And then just drive away. And then they're like, oh,
He got us one last time. One more. Yeah, there may have been an incident a couple of years ago. Dickinson State University came here to play, and
Yeah.
there was a 4.5-hour rain delay.
right.
Wow.
And our PA
It was
guy,
heavy rain.
our PA guy went over to the tailgate for a little bit. And
4.5 hours.
yeah, so there wasn't a lot of people at the game, the last half of the football game, and there was a lot of enunciation.
I don't think it was.
Bardes.
I think it was
The
4 years
Dowels.
ago. I think it was like 2 years ago.
It was 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was absolutely, and it was one of the finer moments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
Sounds
game.
like a good time.
We did lose that game, but still,
I feel like we kind of won.
yeah, I feel like in retrospect.
They were indignant by the time they
They were
left.
so
they were
mad.
not happy with us at all.
Big deal.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, hey, I didn't get yelled at.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you do with your free time, Coach? When besides just sitting on benches staring at open water?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Well, I used to, just fun fact, I used to be a beer distributor, a craft beer distributor back when I was a high school
right.
football coach as well.
Nice.
So
Andy used to be a craft beer distributor.
Yeah, I used to
Yeah.
own a craft
Yeah.
beer place.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
talk about that? I don't remember. if
No, we did not.
No, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you didn't know about that?
I didn't know about that.
No,
you go.
I got out of it in 2020. We opened it in 2016, and then it closed. What, last year? I think something like.
Yeah, I have a variety of mugs from being in the mug club since
Yeah.
its inception.
I do too.
Here at the bunker.
Bunker. You got it.
Yeah.
So, mostly, were you dealing with national brands, or were you dealing with just local stuff?
Mainly local stuff like there's a couple out here that I've seen.
Yep.
I don't know if you'd recognize these names, but like Boneyard,
Yep.
Freem.
Don't know that one. Goliath.
Used to have we had a big import inventory, so a lot of stuff from overseas. Super cool job.
Yeah.
Awesome job to be able to walk into a place and ask if, hey, you guys want to buy some beer, and it's pretty easy sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't correlate with a high school job, though, right?
No.
Okay, I didn't know where you're going with that.
Nope,
Just
nope.
wanted to make sure that you're not like got a warrant out there.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. Different folks.
Is everybody in the northwest part of the country that's in the small beer business? Do they all have giant beards?
It's a trend for sure. Definitely, you kind of know who the brewer is. You know who the owner is.
Yep. How many skull caps?
Yeah,
do you own?
I don't think I own.
Are they wool? Every one of them.
They got pinned jeans, Andy. Pinned jeans and a 14-inch beard.
Exactly. And- oh yeah, they're jeans, wearing skinny jeans, flannel shirts,
flannel
yep,
shirts.
horn rim glasses.
Getting a fight with you over Kurt Cobain,
Yep. Well, that's true.
the man who
God rest his soul.
ruined rock and roll. See, that's every time I could start a fight in Northwest America all the time. Yeah.
But my free time, so that wasn't just a beer story. I do enjoy just kind of being able to go out and see what else is out there. I've got my dog Chip. He made the trip with me.
He did. I figured you would do that. If you have a Jeep Cherokee and you're rolling across the country, I know there's a dog in a kennel. Did you have him in a kennel?
Nope, he's a
front seat.
He's front seat guy.
Seat.
Yeah.
Just sitting
All
there
my
watching.
other stuff was in the back.
There's
Right.
like a
I love that.
Smokey and the Bandit story, the
Yeah.
correlation right there.
I think it's Sally Field.
Yeah. No, she's not the dog. Was it,
Oh, you're thinking
Jerry Reed
Yeah,
had
Jerry
this
Reed.
dog that was
Eastbound and Down.
yeah. You know what we're talking about?
I have some familiarity with
Oh, that's good because we have wild references to movies and to make our
Wasn't the dog's name Cletus?
think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
No.
know that one. No,
Because you were born in probably, 97, 96?
96.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd be the same age as my oldest.
Yeah, we got kids that age, don't we?
Yeah, we do. You've got one even older.
I do. Yes. Well, anyway, but you should go check that. Smokey and the Bandit was a series of not great movies, but they did have some great characters in there. Yeah,
Yeah, Jackie Gleason. That
absolutely.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, outdoorsy guy. I mean, like obviously from the Pac Northwest, you got to be like just going out and walking and just seeing the beauty and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're from there, you kind of forget.
Yeah.
It's sometimes not like that everywhere. So going home, being able to go home, Eastern Washington's a little bit different, kind of farmlandy stuff.
Yeah.
Really, Eastern Oregon and Eastern Washington aren't that different in landscape.
Okay.
When you think of Oregon, you think of generally the west side. You think of
Sure.
past Hood River. The Dalles is a very deserty kind of place.
Oh,
So, very low sea level and desert land, not a ton of green.
oh, really? I
Very
didn't know
high
that.
winds.
Oh.
And so generally when you think of all the forests and stuff like that, you're thinking of the west sides of the state.
Okay.
Seattle is, Washington and
Yeah.
over the pass and stuff like that. That's generally what I've kind of noticed from people that are like, "Oh, you're from Oregon, it's all green." Well, not all
all
the
of it.
time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, do you ever find yourself walking around the areas of Eastern, Western Washington, or Oregon with a firearm and killing stuff?
Are you a hunter?
Are you a hunter? I'm sorry, I didn't know how to rephrase that. You hunt. You hunt animals, not humans.
Yeah, not a ton personally. My family growing up, we weren't as I guess country. I consider myself like a little country.
Yeah.
Like towny.
Yeah.
Towny might be a bad word.
Small
I don't know,
town.
but
No, it's all good.
all right.
Yeah.
My grandpa and grandma for my stepmom, they're hunters. My little brothers. I've got two younger brothers. That they're 14 and 9 right now, and so
Okay.
they're much younger. So they're going through and doing all that stuff with them. So it's cool to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the family planning on coming out watching you on the sidelines?
There has been conversations. So talking about my grandparents own a RV.
All right.
They
What kind?
I don't know.
Well, you better find out.
Yeah,
You could have just said Winnebago.
I
Of course.
could have, but I didn't want to lie.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I appreciate that.
So they go down on a trip to Arizona, a couple times a year or something like that, and stay down there, kind of like the migration of birds, and hang out there when it's cold in Oregon and it's warm down there.
Yeah.
And so there's been conversations about, well, maybe we
Does the migration of birds have anything to do with them going to Arizona?
Snowbirds.
No.
Snowbirds.
Honestly, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Snowbirds.
It would be funny if
I
that's
followed
why.
along.
Yeah, but why they went there. It was like, why don't we
Exactly.
just follow the birds,
Well, the swallows from
We love
Capistrano.
the birds.
Exactly. Well, there's a particular
It's funny.
great
that you
horned owl that we
funny
like
you
to
stop
follow
right
around.
here. You don't go all the way to Canada to follow the geese. Keep on going.
That's right.
Nobody does that.
Do they call them just geese in Canada?
Our geese.
Yeah.
I think they say our geese.
These are our geese.
They're going to be renamed America Goose.
Anyway, goodness.
But yeah, there's been conversations about
all right.
maybe being able to make the trip over. There's RV parks and everything here that they need to.
We got
be
some
able to hook
hookups.
up. Yeah,
You.
Yeah.
so
Great place to camp.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, there's been some conversations.
We're going to have a. Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so growing up, obviously you're out there and what us Flatlanders think is beautiful country. And was there ever any big vacations as a kid where you got to see other parts of the country, or is this kind of your first foray into a different realm?
Yeah, this would be my first real getting out in different parts of the country.
right.
Vacations when I was younger, we'd go to the water park and we'd go, maybe some different cities or go to Portland or whatever.
Yeah.
And do stuff like that, but weren't like a big traveling family.
Sure.
I'd say most of my traveling experience comes from my time at Eastern Washington.
I suppose.
Yeah. So we flew out. We actually played our first game in 2023 in US Bank Stadium.
Oh,
wow.
really?
Yeah,
Nice.
super cool.
Yeah, I bet.
It would be.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, called it neutral ground, neutral game site. It was not neutral. We played North Dakota State, and they had their logos painted on the Vikings field.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Is North Dakota State any good in football?
they're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
I haven't heard of them before.
I feel like they ought to be. Are they still Division II?
They're FCS.
They're FCS. Okay.
FCS all the way.
Yeah.
You bet. But they didn't win this year.
Well,
Jackrabbits did, didn't they? What's with the Dakotas and FCS? Come on.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't either.
My father-in-law
Montana's.
believes that North Dakota should just change their name officially to Dakota.
Mhm.
So that South Dakota looks like an afterthought.
It's a unique thought.
Yeah.
It's a unique thought. Yeah.
Kind of like West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, that was an afterthought.
Yes, it was completely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carved it right off there. Well, hey, listen, there's a couple of things I got to bring up here because we do have to. I will let all of our listeners know that today I was out around Bullstore Field. I've marked off. We got 40 trees to plant. The ginkgo biloba trees are in. They arrived on Tuesday. Sent out an email if you're on our emailing list, so you kind of know what's going on. If you're not on our emailing list, it's real simple. Just go ahead and join the Gridiron Club at the WaldorfGridironClub.org, and then you'll get included in that. And that's something that obviously we want to get started because the 2025 season, in our opinion, has just begun. And so those trees are going to get planted tomorrow. Well, actually today. This comes out on Friday. So this is recorded on Thursday. So today. Depending on when you're listening to this, we're going to be out there at 10 o'clock in the morning. And Adam and I will be out there a little bit earlier than that. And we're going to drill those holes and we're going to move those trees. And if you're around and you want to help, slide them in. We'll get them in and get them planted so that they're ready to roll. And they're great. They're probably 10, 12 feet tall. Really impressed with the size of them. They're going to make an immediate impact. Obviously, removed all the ash trees last fall after the final game of the season. And thanks to everybody that helped did that. So we're in a great position. The Bullstore Field's going to look beautiful. We're looking forward to those trees getting planted tomorrow. And and then we've got spring ball coming up, and we talked about that last week. That is going to be on the 12th of April.
Yes.
That'll be a 1:00 game at Bullstore Field, so we want all of our fans to come out. It's a scrimmage, so you have the opportunity to see what the Warriors have been working on for the last the month at that time. And then on the following day, which is Palm Sunday in the afternoon, starting at 1:00, the team's going to go out. They're going to they're open to taking jobs. So if you want to email Coach Chapa, tyler.chapa@waldorf.edu, get hooked up with a team of 5-6 Warriors. They'll come to your place. If you need them to rake the yard or pick up sticks or clean out the garage, whatever you got planned, they got a few hours there from 1 to 4 that they'll be happy to do that. And it's free will donations, a little community service for them, and an opportunity to raise funds as well for the team. And so gets them out in the community. Looking forward to that. And then after that game, after that community or the spring cleanup, then about 5:00 we'll meet back at the tailgate area there at Bullstore, on the north end of Bullstore Field, and we'll be serving up burgers to the team, the coaches, and to our Gridiron Club members who want to come out and spend some time with the players and the coaches and everything. So looking forward to that. I know Trista's working on the menu and getting everything put together for us there. So the 2025 season has truly kicked off, and looking forward to spring ball. And then I have to do a pitch here.
Yes, you do.
For my selfish reasons. My friend Donovan Johnson, world-class piano player and just a musician overall, Carnegie Hall, Europe, all those things, moved back to Forest City a couple of years ago, and he's really done nothing but brought great music class to the hometown area where he came from. And for some reason, he included me in his 50s revival show. So if you're listening to this, I think tickets are still available. I know they are still tickets available at Bowman Fine Arts Center. You can go to the Bowman Fine Arts website for Sunday afternoon this weekend at 3 p.m. It's a nice matinee show and about maybe an hour and a half, might be 2 hours long, of just great 50s music. And I get a chance to repeat my much earlier days as a bass in a quartet and just sing words that don't mean anything, bum, 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 and then do have 3 songs where I do actually get to sing words. So
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that, and then lots of talent. It's not just me. In fact, I would say I'm the least of the group there. Fantastic band, wonderful music, male, female singers, lots of songs, solos, and just quartets, all music from the 50s. It's going to be pretty awesome. He's doing that, and it'll be this Sunday at the Bowman Fine Arts Center. It's a 50s revival show. Like I said, you can go to the Bowman Fine Arts website to buy tickets, and they'll probably have tickets at the door as well. And then I think he's planning on doing a 60s show and a 70s show and an 80s show, etc., every so often.
Spandex for the 80s show, I hope.
Oh, well, maybe Zuba pants for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with that or something.
right.
Maybe parachute pants or something.
Coach
We'll
has
see.
no idea.
I don't know if I'm even invited to any other show after this, but yeah. So
We'll see how you do on Sunday.
correct. All good things that are happening all right there in the Waldorf neighborhood. And then, of course, this summer, on the 22nd of July, Ragbry's rolling into town. Andy is excited about that as public safety director. And
I am not the public safety director. Thank you very much.
I thought you were the Winnebago County
Emergency management. Court.
What's the difference?
But because
I don't
when
mean
it
to
comes
offend.
to Ragbri, the
Yeah,
public
yeah.
safety director is in
Those are-
charge of everything: law, fire, EMS.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of communications and event planning.
But
when
you
it comes
are
to-
in charge
yeah.
of some things.
Keith Dino's my boss.
Okay. State Trooper Keith Dino, also a big supporter
Sergeant.
of
Dino, not just
Sergeant
State
back on the job.
Yeah, finally.
After
his
They
surgery.
say he's the face of Forest City. So we have 20,000 people, bicyclists, coming into Forest City
bet
for
they
one
will.
night for a good time, and then they're heading off to Iowa Falls the next
What could
day.
go wrong?
Nothing. They're fantastic. We've had them back in 2014.
2014.
You know, they every so often they roll through here. If you're not familiar with this coach,
Coach, you ever heard of Ragbri?
Yeah.
I have not. There's a very similar thing that happens in the Pacific Northwest.
They ride across the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
What is it
Bikes.
called?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, wow. Great story. Thanks.
Yeah,
That's a terrible.
it happened when I was in high school, and
Okay.
I was one of the kids that helped out and
Nice.
moved bags and
Oh,
kind of created donations for the football program back then.
very good.
And the same opportunity exists on the 22nd of July.
Yeah.
So the Gridiron Club will figure out something, and we'll see what we're going to do there.
Yep.
52 years this has been going on every
Wow.
year for Iowa. So the longest running weirdo.
I think they
deal.
missed it in 2020 because of
Might have.
the vid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
But hey, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a big deal. Just a couple buddies down at the Des Moines Register decided, it'd be cool.
That's right across the state.
Next thing you
Dip
know,
your
you-
back tire in the Missouri River and your front tire in the Mississippi.
They're not dipping it in the Missouri River this year. They're dipping it in Orange City.
Ooh, hey, do we know somebody from Orange City?
Coach Clary.
Yeah, we do. And Northwestern, one of our GPAC rivals.
Yep.
I met that. They're an overnight team. So they're an overnight town. So I talked to them when I was in Des Moines. I'm on that one of those committees and got to know them. And I was obviously
politely talking smack about how terrible their program is and all
The
that
Dutch.
stuff. And they thought that was moderately funny. And then I told them that we had this podcast. And so there's a group of, townies from Orange City, and they were listening. And then they came. So this is like a Thursday and a Friday. So Thursday night, I was like, we got a podcast talk all about Orange City. We know all about this town, So, and then they said, really, what's the podcast called? I told them. Next day,
Wouldn't talk to you.
no, they thought it was great.
Of course.
They thought it was great. Yeah, they did. I mean, it's a little side eye, but I mean, they thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, Coach, one of the things we always like to do is we like to give our guests the last word.
Oh,
But we don't like to leave you too much on the spot where, we just drop it right to you. So that's why we're just kind of droning on. So, Coach Riley Bardes, what do you have to say to the community, the Waldorf fans, the Gridiron Club, what have you? We're just going to leave it to you. Say anything you want.
yeah. Well, I've felt very welcomed. Felt very welcomed pretty much right away. So that's been really great just from a personal standpoint. We had the neighbor come over the other day and let me know that I can't park on the street when it snows here. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
Where do they got you living? Like an apartment?
I'm living on 11th Street.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Won't get too specific.
Yeah,
That's fine. Yeah.
You don't want to die.
No.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good little setup.
Good.
For sure. So one felt very welcomed here, and there's a lot to look forward to in the 2025 season.
All right.
Amen. Can't
Agree
wait.
with that.
Well, hey, Coach, thanks so much for taking some time out of your very busy schedule to come here and be on the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it very
Absolutely. Thank
We're
you.
in the
guys for
midst of
having me.
spring ball. It's been it's fun to watch. I saw the guys come out today while I was setting out those flags for the trees, and it looks like everybody's getting after it.
Yeah, we're moving around.
Yeah,
We're definitely
good.
moving around.
That's good. I need to get to practice.
check it out.
Yeah, I need to because it's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. But I was going to go last night, but I went fishing. And then I was going to go tonight, but I had to go to Latimer and then do a podcast.
Yeah.
So I'll get there.
Eventually.
I'll get there. Hey, I think I'm opening.
Definitely be there on the 12th of April. Maybe.
Anyway, all right, folks. Thanks for joining us here at the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. For Troy Thompson, this is Andy Buffington, and forever and always, go Warriors. You can join the Waldorf Gridiron Club and be part of the best small college football experience in America.
Just visit our website and pick your membership level. Find us and everything Waldorf Gridiron Club related, including professional photos, at waldorfgridironclub.org.
You can also click on the Support the Show link in the show notes to donate.
And you can even use the United States Postal Service by sending your check to the Waldorf Gridiron Club, P.O. Box 125, Forest City, Iowa, 50436.
It's tax exempt, hassle free, and has a level for every budget.
That's right, anyone can join, even our rivals.
Show your colors. Join the Gridiron Club today.
Get it?
Got it. Fantastic.
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast is hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson. Produced by Sunnyside Farm Studios in beautiful rural Forest City, Iowa. Platformed by Buzzsprout and music by Soundstrike. The Waldorf Gridiron Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the student athletes of the Waldorf University football program. Our mission is to assist the program in maintaining the best small college football experience in America.